I want to share my understanding with postures in practice. My current understanding is that postures is just a tool in order to help us progress towards our practice objectives. So once we have clarified our practice objectives, we then see how the tools such as postures help us progress towards that. So for example, if you want to practice mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness breathing is just another tool in order to, for example, help us stabilize attention, become more concentrated, or in order to understand the behavior of the mind, such as once we observe the breath, mind wandering happens, attention is restless, etc. There we learn about the behavior of the mind. So it's not about the breath. The same way when you buy a shoe, you buy the shoe in order to walk comfortably, hence it is not about the shoe. Of course, for some it is about the shoe, and then it is about the shoe, if that's the objective. The same way you can imagine that someone wants to observe the breath for the sake of observing the breath, then go for it. If that's your objective, that's your objective. But the rule remains the same. Clarify your practice objective and then be curious about how, for example, the posture helps you progress towards that. Let's take two examples. One is a kindness towards yourself. So we can practice kindness towards yourself right now. I'm experiencing right now. We can also use other tools, for example, the hand towards your chest, feeling the touch, and experience a facilitated, easy access to kindness. You can also receive a hug from someone or hugging yourself. And there I also notice it's easier to experience and enjoy the kindness. If you, for example, now practice always with your hand to your chest, and then you go out into the world in daily life and want to practice it there, and for whatever reason you can't bring your hand to your chest, and it is very difficult for you to, when you talk, when you discuss, when you go to the supermarket, to activate kindness without the hand in your chest, then maybe the suggestion is to practice without the hand on your chest, in order to develop that skill to be kindness independent of the posture. Another example is relaxation. So for me, for the most part of my life, meditation life, before I guess I didn't notice, I'm very controlling, forcing, tense. To a certain degree still to this day. And what I did, my teacher recommended me to practice in a lying posture, in order to make it easier for me to access relaxation. And this helped. I practiced for 1 year, every day in a lying posture. And now I have easier access to release, to relax in whatever posture. After 1 year practicing in lying posture, I noticed also a little bit dullness, so tiredness, sleepiness coming up in that posture. So now I practice mostly into a seated posture. So I'm adapting, continuously being curious. That being said, there are for me two main rules that I recommend in choosing when you have formal practice, when choosing a posture. The first one is being comfortable. And comfortable means, most importantly, not to physically hurt yourself. I practiced in ways, used the postures in ways that physically hurt myself. For hours in a cross-legged position, the knees screaming, the shoulders, the arms screaming, and for weeks after I noticed my knees. And it may be that my knees are damaged because of that. Now when I do some sports, I can notice this, but this may have caused multiple reasons. And in my understanding, there's no need, never, to physically hurt yourself that has long-term consequences. So be comfortable as much as you can, pleasant, relaxed. Make your practice easier for you. The second one is to remain attentive. Rather than falling asleep or being hyper energized, active, find a balanced effort that leans towards relaxation, that you can still observe your practice. I imagine this as when we practice, we want to teach the mind something. So for example, kindness. Once I activate the kindness towards that person, towards myself, my mind is learning. But if I'm sleepy, I imagine that most of my mind is not observing, is offline, and it can't learn. The same way when I'm hyperactive, it may be restless, going everywhere, and it can't observe on what I want to practice at. So being comfortable and attentive. The message that I want to communicate and express is that be free. Don't fixate yourself to have a certain postures like sitting on the floor, cross-legged. You may practice better on a couch in a lying posture or dancing for certain practice objectives. So be curious, clarify whatever you want to achieve with your practice. You have multiple objectives. And then we see what posture helps us progress towards that, rather than fixating and maybe harming ourselves or giving excessive importance towards a posture, and maybe preventing the pleasure and relaxation, how nice it may feel to be in a posture. That helps us motivate and encourage to practice as well.